Hi guys, Darth Deuces here, back on the Star Wars 3¼ inch figure review, and I've got a few older figures that I picked up recently, loose, for, pretty cheap, so I figured I'd do some videos on these figures. This is one I actually didn't even know existed. I think it's the very first Kashyyyk Clone Trooper figure they ever made. This is the Elite Core Clone Trooper from the 2006 Saga collection. Um, yeah, from the little bit of research I did, and I could be wrong, but I think this is the very first Kashyyyk Trooper they ever made. It's interesting they never actually made one in the Revenge of the Sith line, or at least none that I could find. Um, this figure is kind of interesting because it's actually just a repaint of the 2004 2005 original trilogy vintage collection Biker Scout. So taking a closer look, it is actually inaccurate to the film because while the Imperial Scout Trooper armor is very similar to the Kashyyyk Clone Trooper armor, there are differences, and I'll do a comparison so you can see. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting that this was the first ever figure they did for that Clone Trooper. I mean, it works well enough because the armors are similar, but there are more accurate versions out there to get. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. I'm leaning towards actually putting him on my Imperial shelf and just having him be like a camo biker scout. I think that'd be kind of cool because he doesn't really match up with my other Kashyyyk Trooper clone troopers. But taking a closer look, I do really like how this figure looks overall. The paint is really well done. He's got that camo all throughout. You can see the black lines very much missed the mark there on the sculpt. But everything else is pretty clean, and I really like the metallic green visor. That's always something I really loved about the Elite Core Troopers. That looks really cool. And that camo extends all throughout the figure. Quite a bit of paint on this guy, honestly. Even some details on the gloves there, which look nice. And on the belt, you got camo on the pants as well, and the boots. You do still have the Scout Trooper pistol holster there, reminiscent, obviously, coming from the mold being the Imperial Scout Trooper. The clones don't have this, but it looks good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very cool looking figure. It's not accurate to what it's trying to be. Articulation wise, this figure actually has held up pretty well. He has a ball joint to the neck that has a pretty good range of motion. Hinges at the shoulders. There are ball hinges at the elbows, but they don't have a very deep bend, so your posability with those is pretty limited. It's kind of tough to get him in a two-handed blaster pose. It does have a swivel and a hinge joint at the waist, which is pretty good, or I guess diaphragm. Only swivel hips, hinged knees, and then hinged ankles and rotation. So for the time that this figure came out, honestly, the time this mold came out, 2005, it says on his ass there, super articulated for the time. So that's cool. It is still pretty well articulated, which is nice. Obviously some hindrances, of course. It's not perfect and hasn't aged perfectly, but pretty good. Accessory-wise, he does come with the DC-15 carbine, which he holds okay, but because it's the Scout Trooper mold, his right hand is in that two-finger trigger pose for his pistol, which I don't have the pistol. I got this guy loose and he didn't come with the pistol, but he is supposed to come with the Scout Trooper pistol as well, so you could holster that here or have him hold it. But you get the blasters held, well enough, but it's not great either. But yeah, it's kind of a cool find. I bought this guy for like $5, so for that, of course I'm gonna grab it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put him on my Imperial shelf. I think he'd be kind of cool, just as an alternate biker scout on that. But for comparison here he is with the actual accurate looking Kashyyyk Trooper, which they only made like a year later because they did this in 2006, and then in 2007 the 30th anniversary line, we got the actual normal or proper looking Kashyyyk Trooper. So here it is. I actually got both these guys at the same time. Paid $5 for both of them. But yeah, you can see the differences. The helmets are similar, but they are different. The colors are a bit different. The torso armor is a bit different. The collar is a bit wider on this one. Gloves are very similar though. And the backs are pretty similar too. He has different pouches on the back though. And you have different leg armor too. So I mean, this figure works as the Kashyyyk clone, but these are definitely more accurate. Although it's funny, the Biker Scout mold is a better size. For whatever reason, they made the Kashyyyk clone troopers undersized, so they're a little too short and a little too small. It's not terrible, but it is noticeable. You can see there that he's a bit taller. And just for fun, here it is with the Commander Gree figure. So I mean, these definitely work. It's not too bad, but as you can see, I do feel like this guy kind of stands out among the actual accurate looking clones. I wish these guys weren't so short though. That's a little bit of a pain. But yeah, there's not too much to talk about. You know, I'm not gonna make this video too long. Overall, I do still think this figure is cool. If you want like accurate Kashyyyk clone troopers, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not the right one. But if you just want a cool looking Biker Scout with camo paint job, you know, if you can get it for like a decent price, I wouldn't pay like crazy prices for it, but you can get it for a decent price. Like, yeah, definitely recommend. This is definitely a cool looking trooper figure regardless. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Short little review, but thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.